My name is Frank Lenz, and I'm a brand and commercial photographer. So, what I do basically is I help businesses and professionals to create authentic visual contents.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
That tell their unique stories, which positions them as an authority in their respective industry. And I understand much that storytelling has become a major strategy to, get the attention of your audience or to invoke emotions. So I've been skilled for the past 5 years now to use photography, storytelling photographs, and motion content to create um, authentic contents for brands in order to attract their ideal customers. So that's what I do for them.
Thank you so much for that, Frank. All right, so here we pride a lot about our background, where we are coming from, our history. Do
Yeah.
you want to tell me, were you actually born in Lagos or did you come to Lagos from some other part of the country?
I was born in Lagos, 1990. Uh, Ogba to be precise. Yeah, Lagos, as I was born.
So you were born in Ogba.
Yeah, Ogba. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background there? What do you see around you? What are the what? So the people who do not know what Ogba is, what can you give us as a kind of the element of the place? What is Ogba?
Okay. Well, Ogba is an area in Lagos. Though I did not grow up there. The hospital resides there. That was where I was given birth to. I grew up in the part of Ogudu. In fact, my parents are people who move from one location to another place in Lagos. Yeah, but I would say generally, growing up, it was a mixture of fun and loneliness. Let me put it that way, because my father is a traveler, so he's hardly around, and my mom is always busy in the kitchen because we normally have visitors. We have, different people staying with us, uncles, cousins, aunties, So most of the time, I'm always on my own. Yeah. So, but my father made sure that we had everything we needed, to stay happy and to stay cool. Do you understand? Yeah. But then, I needed more of that fatherly presence in my life. So I think that was what made it a bit lonely for me, though. Yeah.
So you are still in Ogba today?
No, no, no. I'm currently living on the island, Ajah to be precise.
Okay, you are living in Lagos Island.
Yeah, Lagos Island.
So how is the Lagos Island? I mean, compared to maybe other part of the city.
Well, Lagos Island, we all know it's more like the business hub of the state. It's how will I put it now? It's clumsy. All right, we have so many people on the move, trying to make ends meet. The traffic is, oh my God, the traffic is very frustrating. Can be frustrating, and it's funny that um, the traffic you get unawares with it, so you can't say, okay, I need to get to a particular destination for 30 minutes or an hour. You'll be so surprised, or you'll be disappointed that day, even if you decide to leave 2 hours earlier, the traffic is ready for you to delay you for 3 hours more or four. Do you understand? So, but we're used to it, all right. So we just go by it every time, and I think it helps us to remain resilient, and to remain determined to achieve our respective goals. Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, now photography. First of all, let's talk about that. Then we'll go to storytelling. How did you get into photography?
Okay. I got into photography after my university days. I think I tried seeking for jobs, but it wasn't coming forth. Knowing at the system is, you have to have series of experiences, and as at that time, I had no skill whatsoever, so it was challenging for me. But then I have a friend who takes photographs, and I always love the attitude and the charisma he puts into his work. And gradually, the love for photography began to develop. In fact, I realized that I had it since, but I didn't pay attention to it because anytime I come across visual content, I always try to, I become curious, to know how they did this and that. So that was the beginning until I started photography proper in 2017, which, I did that by watching series of YouTube videos. So it's not like I learned under somebody, but I was watching countless of videos online and practicing with my friend's camera. So that was like going to photography.
When you first started in photography, do you want to tell me what are the things that actually sort of interest you into the kind of thing that you wanted to do? Is it because you saw people taking photo, the things around you? What was your motivation into photography?
Okay, at first, yeah, I what motivated me to go in photography was anytime I see people come across their image, there is this joy that they exhibit. I don't It's subconscious, yeah. And I see images of different places. In fact, photography has different genres. So we have the street, we have the landscape, we have the portrait, we have the fashion. So I come across so many images on Instagram, and I was always amused by the things I see. I really love the old colors, the concept, the creativity. Yeah. So I wanted to be part of people's story. I wanted to be a reason why people will say, "Oh wow, I love the way I look. I'm so excited about my images." I got to find out that photography is a source of hope, is a source of joy to many people. I even got to find out that photography actually helps, to improve your state of mind. Do you understand? For people who feel depressed, who are not happy about their current state. But when you take pictures of yourself and you see the outcome, it just tends to lift your spirit. Yeah. So those are the things that motivate me. I want to be in the lives of people to just have a unique touch, that would bring about joy and happiness to their soul. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Now, in your early stage in photography, do you want to tell me what were the things you were doing? Was it like you were photographing just about anything? Because now you are a professional photographer who have found your niche, you have covered your niche that you are working on. No? You don't do just any type of photography, correct?
Yes, I don't.
Okay. All right. So in those early time that you were starting out in photography, do you want me to tell me what you were doing? How did you know that the area that you are today is what you wanted to be? But before you get to this place, what were you doing around? Tell me about that.
Okay. At first, yeah, it was all about creating. It was all about improving my skills as a photographer. In fact, I was excited with the new chapter of my life as at that time. Taking pictures of anything that comes across my attention. I was focusing majorly on people. I was just taking pictures of them. Of course, when I started, other doors started opening. Like I got my first wedding gig, which, if I look back at it now, it was a total mess. I don't understand what I was thinking then, but other opportunities started coming. But I just wanted to explore. Baby photography came. I did that. Street, I did that. Wedding, I did that. Portrait, I did that. So at that time, I was just focused on creating. I was just passionate about it. You understand? I was just pursuing that passion as a photographer. Taking all sort of images that catches my attention. I just wanted to be creative, and I was putting myself out there. And people were seeing the progress, were seeing the growth. The positive feedback kept me going. You understand? So now, moving forward from that, I think it was about a year plus down the line. And of course, I needed to start bringing in the paycheck. I got to a level where I needed to start making money, but then it was a challenge for me getting the clients I wanted to work on or work with. Sorry. At that time, I realized that okay, there were other things I needed to learn about aside from being a skilled photographer. I needed to learn branding, how to position myself. I needed to learn how to tell stories. I needed to learn to market, which was another challenge for me as at that time because the kind of clients I was attracting were not appealing to me. And, at the end of the day, it was like, I wasn't even making anything, from the whole service I'm rendering. Yeah. So I would make reference to the Ebony Brothers, who I used to work with closely back when they were still in Nigeria. So they were the ones that opened my eyes to the international market. making references to so many international photographers, and I saw the similarities, which is they had a unique style, they had an identity, all right. They had a particular way they create. It could be the type of photography, or it could be the type of editing, it could be, the concept. There was something unique about your work. And I realized that, okay, my own content were drowned in the market here because every photographer were creating almost the same thing. So it was difficult for me to tell people that this is who I am. I'm unique. All right. So I had nothing more, to impress or to convince them that, okay, I'm unique with what I'm doing. So that moment, I decided to go back to the drawing board and decided to focus not just on my skill, but to focus on the business aspect, which is the branding, which is the coming up with my own style, all right, and a particular way I love to create. And that was it for me.
Hmm. That's great. That's great. There's a journey there. There's a
Yeah.
journey. All right. Now, how easy is it to get started as a photographer in Lagos?
I won't lie, it's not easy. Photography is one of those skills that you don't go into hoping that you want to start making money immediately. It requires time and patience. But then, I also I also teach photography. But then I tell my students that look, the thing to focus on is harnessing your skill first. Be good at what you're doing. Then before that, we'll now move to the business aspects. Yeah. So it's challenging though, but if you are able to understand um, where you're going to or why you're doing this as a photographer, it becomes easy for you to map out your journey, all right, and follow it diligently without compromise. And in no time, you begin to attract the kind of people you want to work with, in as much as you are committed to improving your skills as a photographer.
Hmm. All right. Before you were talking of storytelling, do you want to tell me what exactly you mean by storytelling?
Okay, all right. Now you watch. We are familiar with movies, yeah, and every movie you see has a story. A movie cannot be produced without a story. The first thing or the first element of a movie is the story, and this story has um, an actor, all right, a point of attraction, someone who the story evolves around, all right. So that is the same principle when it comes to photographs. If I'm to capture you, for instance, the question I always ask my client is, what story do you want to tell? All right. What does that mean? It means that, okay, how do you want people to see you? Regardless of what you do as a person, you're a fashion designer. Okay. What kind of story you want to tell them? You want to tell them about, your skill as a photographer. You want to tell them about your values as a fashion designer. You want to tell them about your interest as a fashion designer. Uh, Instead of just typing long text, photographs can do that. So I can capture you in a way that, okay, for instance, you love to hang out at the beach, right? You could tell stories with it. You being at the beach, engaging in several activities, and as my based on my own skill as a photographer, I will use lightning, compositions, angles, to just capture you in an interesting way, that make people understand what you're trying to say. All right. So these are images that you don't need to explain to people what is going on in there. All right. They just get the message. Do you understand? So that's why storytelling is, I mean, that's what storytelling is about. All right. Creating images that speak for themselves. There's this popular saying that images, speak 1,000 words. And it's true. All right. You see some images and you can tell that, oh, this person is not happy. You see some images, you can tell that, oh, this person is excited. Those are stories. You understand? So that's it.
At what point did you introduce storytelling to your photography? Or maybe it was the other way around. Just let me understand that part.
Okay. At first it was just taking pictures. Yeah. I think the time I introduced storytelling to my photography was when I newly joined LinkedIn platform. Yeah, and I met Jeff Brown, who is a renowned photographer in UK. He helps photographers to build their businesses. So it made me understand that storytelling is a powerful tool in order to, get uh, visible on this platform or get people to find interest in what you have to say, what you have to do. You understand? And that moment, because at first I just post my pictures on LinkedIn and, the feedback for the engagement is really low until I decided to engage in storytelling. All right. And from that moment, there was massive improvement in the engagement I got and the DMs I was receiving, people making inquiries. So, yeah, at that moment, I saw that storytelling is really powerful. And if you're a brand or a creative, and you're including storytelling, whatever you do, be rest assured that you're going to, make massive improvement.
Mhm. All right. Now, how do you actually use storytelling in photography? Can you give me some examples?
Okay, so I'll give an instance now. A client comes to me and say, okay, I want to create a personal brand shoot for myself. I am a content writer. I said, okay, fine. Questions. Okay, who are your audience? Okay, that is very important because that will determine the kind of story you're going to tell and determine the kind of images I'm going to create for you. Okay, what do you want them to think of you when they see your image? Someone will say, okay, I want them to see me as somebody who is confident, somebody who is energetic, somebody who is jovial. I said, okay, fine, makes sense. Okay, so we have series of stories we're going to tell. All right, so it's not left for me to direct. Okay, we can create images or a scene where, okay, you writing as a content writer, okay, I just take pictures of different angles, all right, with my camera while you are doing your thing. Then I can engage you in a way that, okay, you're playful, you're laughing, and I capture those moments, all right. Now all these images, okay, have their own unique story. Okay, so you can look at an image and you see the person smiling, and I mean, you can tell that, oh, wow, this person is happy at that time. Do you understand? And those kind of images are powerful. They just get you glued to it, and you're just wondering, wow, this is so beautiful. You understand? So, whatever thing you need to even include in that image, it's can be compared to the image itself. So, yeah. So, those are instances of how I use photography to tell stories.
Yeah, another thing that I found interesting when you were talking before
Mm,
was light. And of course, light is very important in photography because it's all about manipulation now.
yeah.
So, how do you use light in your photography? Help me understand that a little bit more.
Okay, so first, we have two kinds of lights. We have the natural lights, which is the sunlight itself, and we have the artificial light, which are the strobe lights you find in studios or you see photographers carry. Yeah. Now, it's important for us to understand that this light you see have different ways we can manipulate it. So, for instance, yeah, just like a movie scene, if you're watching a movie, uh, if you're watching a scene that is frightening, okay, now you realize that the lighting setup there is going to be dim and you're going to see a lot of shadows and a lot of contrast. Yeah. Now that is to tell you that, okay, something bad is about to happen. Okay. Something drastic. All right. Now this is like a serious moment of that movie. So everyone needs to be on deck. All right. To watch what's going to happen. Now, it's not really the storyline that is making you interpret that scene. It's the lighting setup that makes you understand that, okay, something is about to happen in this place. Okay. Now, another scene where, okay, everyone is playful, everyone is happy, they're jovial. Now, the lighting setup there is going to be really bright. All right. You're not going to see shadows. Everything is going to be flat. Everything's going to be bright, crystal clear. Okay. Now, that lighting setup interprets that, okay, everything is in a good mood right now. Everyone is in a good mood. Nothing serious or nothing bad is going to happen here. Do you get? So, we manipulate life based on the story we want to tell. So if you, as an example, you want an image of you that depicts you being fierce, being confident, yeah. Now, if I'm to set up the light, I'm gonna ensure that that image is not flat. It's gonna have some shadows, some contrast, okay, so that it can give that image depth. Do you understand? So anybody that sees that image will understand the story we're trying to tell with that image, can interpret that image on its own. You understand? So that's it. And if someone is jovial, I'm gonna take pictures of you smiling. I'm going to ensure that the image is flat. Okay, there won't be shadows revealed in your image. So everything is going to be crystal clear. Anybody sees that will understand that. Okay, yeah, this is a very happy soul we're seeing right now. So yeah, that's how we use light to interpret stories.
Now, are there some techniques to better use light in photography so you can get the best result?
Yes, of course. There are techniques. We have what we call light modifiers. We have what we call light sharpeners. All right, which we use, to um, create whatever story or whatever image you want to tell. I mean, tell or create. Yeah. So, for instance, with the natural lights, there is I mean, there's nothing much you can do with the natural light with the sunlight, yeah. But this is focused majorly on the artificial lights where you have different strobes, yeah. So yeah, there are lighting techniques that one needs to be aware of in order to create the best of images. So, what makes a photographer different, or a professional photographer different from the rest, is your understanding, okay, of lighting techniques. Okay, being able to manipulate light with different modifiers, with different light sharpeners. Okay, these are the things that can help you utilize the light source you have at a particular time. So that's it.
Mhm. All right. Now, say maybe a client meets you
Mm.
and they want to use storytelling in their business, but they don't even know where to start from. What would you do with them? Like, where would you tell them to start from in constructing their story for their business?
Okay. First, yeah, of course, if you're a business or an entrepreneur, you run a business. First thing is first, you must understand what your value proposition is, what you have to offer to your audience. It's not me that's going to do that for you, it's the person. That's the assignment. And secondly, he or she is meant to know who their target audience are. Okay, so once we have those two elements in place, it becomes easier to move from there. So what I would tell advise is this: I would ask them, okay, for your brand, how do you see your brand as? Is your brand jovial, or what kind of feel, or should I say end result, do you give to your customers when they use your service or your product? Okay, they're gonna tell me. So with that, yeah, I'm also gonna create a mood board. Okay, this is something we do as creative. So, for instance, you work in the creative sector, or should I say, you work in the fashion industry, or you have a lotion, a product. Now, I go on Pinterest, okay, to check other brands like yours and see what they do. Okay. Now, we put together a collage of images of ideas, and I share with the clients to see, okay, do you like something like this? Is this how you picture your brand to be? Or do you like this setup? Do you understand? Now, the idea is not to replicate what you're doing. No, the idea is to understand what the client wants. Yeah, but sometimes they don't know how to interpret it. But once we put images together, they can say, oh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It's okay, fine. Then that way we can now create a unique concept for them that will make their story different from every other brand. Yeah, so that's it.
All right. Made the story different from any other brand.
Yeah.
That is very important. In fact, you're a brand, a commercial photographer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, but what actually separates your kind of business from any other photographer out there?
Okay. First is the quality of work, and another thing that I owe dearly is the experience I give my clients. Sometimes people focus majorly on their product or their skill, but neglect the experience, how they make their customers feel. So for me, yeah, I love to have fun. I love to make my clients feel special. So even while before the shoot day, we've already become used to each other. We've had conversations about the shoot, and my approach is always friendly. So they become very comfortable with me even before that day. So even on the day of the shoot, if we Everything just seemed like we've known each other before. So I just have this unique way of making my clients, be themselves on set, because that's the only way you can get the best image possible in order to work on or to work with. Okay. So I can be skilled as a photographer, but then my subject is not comfortable. Okay. And that would tell on the final images I'm going to create. And you see, for that, I can't control it. So the best thing I do is make sure that they are comfortable first, because I already know that the quality of work I put out is good. But in addition, I give them an experience that makes them want to come back, because on that day they look so good. For many of them, I've gotten feedback that they are not used to be in front of the camera. They've not had a professional shoot before, and they're not used to being in the midst of people. But when they get to work with me, they feel different. They feel like, oh my God, I just want to express myself. And that's the good thing about, photography. You understand? So yeah, I would say that is like my major strategy or major value I give to my clients. I give them an experience that they never forget, and that way they get to refer more people back to me. So that's it.
All right. Experience is powerful. All right. Now, there is this business that yet do not understand if there is any value in using storytelling to promote themselves or to build their brand, whatever the case may be. So, in that sense, if you were to have that kind of business, say, for example, you want to say to them the idea of using storytelling in business, what would you do? What would be your approach?
Oh, okay. The thing is, storytelling helps to evoke emotions. Now, we use storytelling as a tool to let our customers or our audience have more insight about who we are and what we do. Okay. It's the same way you watch movies, and I mean, at the end of the day, you get so glued to it, and you be like, the story is amazing. Storytelling just have a way to get people glued to you. And as a business, knowing fully well that the competition is fierce, in the digital space, we have so many contents begging for your attention. Look, it's not just about having the best marketing statement or the best copy. Now, if you don't have a storytelling image to drive those statements, it becomes fruitless. In fact, the work you're going to be putting out is going to be times three compared to when you have a storytelling image or visuals, that will help drive your marketing statement. So it becomes easy. So I tell brands that, look, if you want to make your work easy for you or easier for you, then engage in storytelling images. All right. So, for instance, what do you call it? If 500 words, all right, or 500 text that could have been typed, all right, I can create them into a series of images that will just speak for itself, and everyone is going to understand, and they will get glued to what you have to say.
If you were to say maybe this is two or three things that you wish you knew when you started out in photography, what would those things be?
First, I would say, if I'd known about branding, yeah, because it's very important for a photographer in order for you to survive. Branding is a very powerful way to get people. Get people to fall in love with what you have to say or what you do. That is one. And two, uh, what else? If I'd known, um, okay, now you see this LinkedIn, yeah? LinkedIn has been on for a very long time. So if I'd known about LinkedIn earlier, I mean, I can imagine where I've got into right now as a photographer, because I saw LinkedIn as a gold mine, and that's because many photographers are not really familiar with it. So everyone is on Instagram, pushing for Instagram. The competition is fierce there. So if I'd known way earlier, I would have just built my brand, on LinkedIn. And by now, I mean, only God knows where I would have been. you know. Then the third one, yeah, known. Yeah, networking. that is what has helped my brand right now. Networking with people. I mean, if I had known how to network, connect with people, socialize with the right people, I mean, things will have totally changed big time. So yeah, very important for me. And I'm glad that I'm doing them now and I'm seeing the changes. I'm seeing the growth. So yeah.
I love that. Now, talking of clients, are all your clients in Lagos or in some other part of the country, or why not also international? Tell me more about that.
Okay. My clients are everywhere. Yeah. Uh okay, I didn't mention I'm also a virtual photographer. So I shoot virtually, meaning that I get to shoot people online. So, and that is what helped me to, connect with clients outside of Nigeria. But before then, I'd worked with Calvin Klein, Gucci, the Perfect Magazine, and some other big brands. Yeah, and this was what made me decide I was going to expand. I was going to, focus my attention to the international market and not just Nigeria. So yeah, I have clients.
Mhm. You made mention of virtual photography, something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, do you want to expand on that a bit?
Okay, yeah. Now virtual photography is using technology to, capture the images of people regardless of their location. So it's done via an app. I use Shutter app. Yeah, and it's very easy to use. It's just like having a video call with someone, but the difference is that I have temporal control of their phone camera. So this photograph is done with their own phone, but the app helps to improve the quality of images captured. Yeah, so there is no way your images or image quality will be compromised. So regardless of where you are, time and day, your images can be captured appropriately, the right way. So that's it.
That is very promising.
Yeah.
How are you able to deal with the technicality of it? Because now you are going to position the person, you are going to frame the object that you want to take as a photograph, and you are no longer in control. Okay, you are going to have to control the light. Or tell me more about. I see to be there's a lot of moving part in that. Let me understand that.
Okay. Now from the photographer's side, it's technical. Okay, because um, you're not there physically, so there are certain things you can't do yourself. Unlike when I'm with the clients, I can move things myself. Yeah, but this time around it's different. So what I do is this: I jump on a video call before the time of the shoot, to just get acquainted with my clients and to show me he or she shows me around their space. Okay, and I use that to see the lightning in that space. Sometimes it can be indoor, it can be outdoor. Okay, so there is always a back and forth conversation that goes on behind the scene before that day to understand, okay, what is to be expected. And sometimes they check the weather, like, okay, sorry, it's gonna be rainy so day. Can we move it? I said, okay, no problem, because I use majorly natural light for this. All right. So I make them understand that, okay, you need your phone with a good internet connection and a mobile tripod to help stable your phone. Then you show me around. I point out the places and angles I want us to use for your shoots. Okay, so yeah, on that day, they got to place their phone on the tripod. Or alternatively, they have somebody to assist in holding the phone. So I communicate with the person how I want them to move the camera. So I could tell you move to the left or the right. Okay, talk to my subject. Can you tilt your head upward a bit for me? So it's always and that's where my skill comes in. I commune with them regularly to make them feel like, okay, I'm there with them. You understand? So yeah, it's been fruitful for me though. Yeah. Though sometimes we have some network lapses or issues, which at the end of the day we get to rectify. So yeah.
Mhm. All right, that's good. Yeah, but what actually do you like more about photography? Is it just the money, or you have passion for it, or it satisfy anything in you? when you are taking photo of people, editing it or having it, collecting it. Tell me about your passion for photography.
Okay, first, I go into photography because of the passion, not because of the money. I mean, I was just excited to make beautiful images of people, get to see them smile. Those were the things that motivated me. Of course, later on the money came, but that's not my driving force. I just enjoy meeting people because photography has really opened doors to for me to meet people that I couldn't have imagined or have access to places I couldn't have gone on my own. So these experiences is what encourages me or inspires me to keep creating. All right. Yeah. So I've gotten feedback from people who say, "Oh wow, I never loved taking pictures of myself because I feel I don't look photogenic. But since you captured my image, I'm loving it. I would like to take more shots." So these feedbacks, encourages me to do more. People who come and they say I'm shy, but I mean, having to work with you, I feel better. I feel good about myself. So yeah, being in the lives of people, being part of their story is what really drives me to keep creating. So yeah, not the money. Yeah,
Mhm. Of course, money also is good. Why not?
of course, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good, very good.
hmm All right. Now, how can people connect with you, Frank? Let them know how to connect with you, those who want to do business with you. And of course, your business has become even easier now because you can take a picture even virtually, which means any person can join you from any part of the world. So share with them.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm on LinkedIn. Frank Lenz. The Lenz is with the Z, Lenz. Yeah, just search for me there. Pop up. I'm on Instagram. Call me Lenz. Yeah, CALLMELENZ. Yeah. So yeah, my website is franklens.co, but it's currently being maintained right now. So you might check, you will see. But definitely that's my website. It's gonna be up very soon. franklens.co. So yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Now, what would be your final thought here to conclude the conversation? Maybe something you want to add as a message or as a shout out to some people. I don't know. It's your time. Go ahead and spend a few seconds on yourself.
Okay, first I would like to thank Jeff Brown. I mean, he was one of the people that opened my eyes to LinkedIn and helped me to position my brand the right way. I mean, meeting him was a blessing to me. I'd also love to thank David Brothers. They were the one that changed my orientation about spreading my tentacles beyond Nigeria, beyond Africa. And also, I would like to encourage professionals of brands. I understand that it can be challenging and frustrating trying to get your ideal clients, trying to stay uh, relevant, to sustain your business. But tell you that, uh, go back to the basics, go back to why you're doing what you're doing. Go back because many people fail to understand fully why they're doing their business. What services they're rendering, how they want their customers to feel. Having an understanding of this will also help with putting out authentic image. So it's not just about creating, not just about putting out content. I need to be posting, I need to be consistent. No, because you can be consistent in doing the wrong things. All right. But then it pays a lot when you invest in quality content, quality images. When you look at big brands, they do not compromise that. They don't joke with the kind of content they put out. Do you understand? So it's an investment. Every image, every visuals you put out, all right, is not a liability. They are assets. And you can use them over again to generate sales, to attract new customers. Okay, so treat it the same way you're treating your business model, your business plan. That's how important your visual contents are. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.